Imagine that you wake up one day and you discover that all the social rules that define you, how you should dress, who you can love, or the opportunities that you will have in your life were created without your consent. And now imagine that those same rules limit your life because of something that you didn't choose, that is your gender. And while it's not my favorite topic, I think that the perspective of gender is important, and such as I don't share all of the ideas of the LGBT movement and its many acronyms that represent all of the different people, I understand that all the people deserves to live with freedom, dignity, and respect. And the gender perspective is about that, about analyze all of difference between men, women, and people of diverse identities, impact how do these impact their lives in order to build a more just society. And I think that it's done isn't about imposing different ideas or forcing anyone to think of a specific mode. It's just a tool that helps us to understand historical inequalities, such as the how women were denied to study, vote, or work without permissions, or how can many people today continue to suffer violence simply because who they are. And I think that all the society can advance if we continue with that from point of view. And also because such as I'm not the biggest fan, I recognize that over the time rights advance on don't advance on personal preferences, but yeah, in the human principles, supporting everyone rights doesn't make you part of the movement. It's simply because you understand the everyone, yeah. For example, like the conflicts around the world, like Gaza demonstrates how can vulnerable human dignity can be. For and this instance reminds us how to these situations of extreme violence, basic rights, including those related to gender, become even more fragile. And women, children, and people of all identities are exposed to risk. And I believe that this isn't a political issue, but yeah, I think that it's violating one place, and they are a weakness for everyone. And that's precisely why it's important always to defend them, even if you or me, I am not 100% agree on every position of the every communities. And I think that the gender perspective seeks to help us understand all the vulnerabilities as a society, and I think that helps us to see each other as equals, not as enemy or people that it's less valuable. And I think that this cause support protects the rights and even a more united humanity. And as finally, I say that I'm not agree with everyone, but I share a bigger idea that is that not one should live in fear, rejection, or violence for being who they are. And if a gender perspective helps to recognize and combat all of that injustice situation, then it's worth defending even from a critical or a doubtful position as me, because I think that at the end of days equality or equity doesn't have to require us to think as a specific mode. I think that it's based on learn and respect everyone, such as if we are one. I think that the peace and the unification will be here if all of us put a little point of intention to get a change on the way of thinking. And I think that is to unify every right, every person, independent of how do they can think or how who can everyone love or something like that.